little bit of a background is...
Yes, that would be helpful. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah. So, Becca, if you don't mind, I'll just give a little background of the history. So, I mean, I'm the founder. I started this. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I've been there for 35 years. And what I was finding about 4 or 5 years ago as I was traveling around the country as an informatics consultant is that most clinicians were quite disenfranchised, feeling not very involved in this evolving digital health revolution. So we created the fund and the network to promote active participation by clinicians in the evolving digital health revolution, opportunities to invest, opportunities to be advisors, consultants, things like that. And in the background, creating an ecosystem and a community of our network of communities to support everything from idea generation all the way through commercialization. So that's how we started. We started with a venture fund. We've since evolved in that we have a fund, we do special purpose vehicles. So yes, from an angel perspective, our network of investors has opportunities to invest in certain individual companies.
Okay, yes. Got it.
We do our due diligence on a company, whether they're coming in to just be accelerated by the network, participate in the network, be an SPV or some other sort of institutional or fund investment. So that's how we
understood.
It's 9 o'clock, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started. There's a lot of folks who are joining. So I'll just give a short welcome as people join. If you're not already muted, if you could please mute yourself until it's your time to speak, that would be great. It would help everything flow a little bit easier today. My name is Becca Gordon. I'm from the Global Health Impact Network and Funds, and I'm help moderating today's event. I welcome all of you to our pitch event for women's health. For those of you that don't yet know one of us, Global Health Impact Network and Funds is a boutique venture capital fund that invests in early stage companies, primarily in digital health or digital health adjacent. We recently closed our first $10 million angel fund. We're currently fundraising for our second angel fund and our first institutional fund. You can find out more about us and what we do at globalhealthimpactnetwork.net. I'll make sure to throw that in the chat for all of you. Prior to joining Global Health about 6 months ago, I spent 12 years as a perinatal and lactation health professional. So women's health innovation is very near and dear to my heart, and I'm very appreciative to all of you for joining us this morning. Just a couple of housekeeping matters before we get started. Anyone who's not already muted, please do mute yourself. This event is being recorded, as you probably have seen. I was saying this event is going to be recorded and it will be available on the Global Health Impact Network. You can join for free on our website. I'll put that in the chat. Please do keep yourselves on mute. If you have any questions or comments for our presenters or judges, you can feel free to use the chat for that purpose. And after the event, we'll circulate information about the companies that are presenting today for follow-up. The flow of the event today is there are 6 companies that will be pitching. Each will have 3 minutes to pitch. We'll put a 1-minute warning for each company in the chat and then verbally ask for final statements at 15 seconds. Following each pitch, our judges will have 2 minutes each to give comments and feedback. So our event should last just about an hour. My colleague Martin Eel is in the background here with me today, promoting and noting people and kind of helping make sure everything flows in the background. So thank you to Martin. We also have 3 amazing judges joining us this morning, and we can't thank you enough for your time. Before we get started with the pitches and presenters, it would be great if each of our judges could take 30 seconds or so to introduce themselves. So we'll start with Belinda. Can you unmute yourself and take a moment to introduce, please?
Thanks for inviting me, and nice to meet all of you. I won't take too much time. I have a PhD. I started at Gillette Corporate Research, worked on antimicrobials that went into MUC3 Blade. Then I joined Oral-B, managed the interdental business, launched Satin Plus and a cross-action toothbrush. Then I became CEO of Avicina, which is a biotech company focused in neurodegenerative diseases, ALS, Huntington's, Parkinson's. We went to phase 3 and licensed out the programs. Started also work on the dermatological side with Estee Lauder, continued to work with them. And then I was CEO of a couple of a dermatology company recently. I worked with a colleague who was the CEO of Obagi and also developed Botox from Elegant, and we're putting together a venture fund as well.
Thank you so much, Belinda. Elizabeth.
I'm Elizabeth Chauffeur-Teague. I'm one of the co-founders of Meta Angels. We are a physician and scientist-founded healthcare angel group. I am a scientist turned angel investors, about 25 years in the biotech side of things, from drug development through regulatory, through clinical trials. So that's where I have hung my hat. And I continue to work at a couple startups. So I still have one foot in that door, but running an angel group. And we also have investor members who can invest through SPVs. So I understand that language. And we are launching a fund as well in the fall. We invest at the mid-seed and Series A stages across all healthcare devices, robotics, some therapeutics, and very recently we partnered with Tech Coast Angels of Southern California. It's one of the largest groups, so that brings more funding firepower, if you want to call it that, to help top off capital raises for startups. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, our very own Rashna.
Thank you so much, Becca, and thanks so much for the team for putting this together. I'm Rachna Dayal. I am, as I mentioned, the COO of the management company and managing partner for the new institutional fund in health tech that we're launching. My background is mixed, equally distributed across technology and healthcare. For the last 10 years of my career, I was at J&J. And, in my last two, tech and healthcare career journeys, I've done many things. I've done marketing, I've done running a small company in technology, I've done R&D and product design, I've done supply chain, I've run manufacturing plants. So it's a very diverse kind of background, which, having worked in big corporations in a startup, the pandemic made me realize that, my heart lies in the entrepreneurial world and there's a lot to be done here. So I made the transition and I'm very happy I did that, because every day I come across, people who are very interesting, doing very interesting and brave things. Entrepreneurship, I always say, is not for the weak of heart. And I see somebody very special just joins this team, Deborah. Hi, Deborah and I were together in J&J. And so it's so lovely to see you. I didn't know you would be joining today. This is great. And so, yes, and as I was saying, brave leaders that I know came before me, like Deborah, made that transition years ago of women's health, which is an underserved and underdeveloped market, despite all the work that's been going on. So before I end my introduction, I want to thank all the entrepreneurs who are presenting today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachna. Our first presenter today will be Neil from Raydient Oximetry, which is a global health impact fund one portfolio company.
Hi, everyone. My name is Neil Ray. I'm a pediatric anesthesiologist by training, CEO and founder of Raydient Oximetry. And our mission is to improve outcomes for mothers and babies during childbirth by developing a better fetal monitor. The reason why we need to develop a better fetal monitor is current fetal heart rate monitoring technology has an accuracy of a coin toss in predicting fetal distress. This is a technology that looks at the baby's heart rate in relation to uterine contractions to identify the babies that are not tolerating the birthing process. However, this technology has what we call low sensitivity and low specificity. So what does that mean? Low sensitivity leads to false negatives, which is the failed identification of the distressed baby. This baby goes on to develop brain injury and cerebral palsy. Low specificity leads to high false positives, which is the failed or the false recognition of a distressed baby that leads to an emergency C-section delivery. This drives up cost and has risk to mom and baby. So what we're doing at Raydient Oximetry is developing a new type of fetal monitor, one that doesn't look at the heart rate, but rather the oxygen saturation of the baby. And we believe that this new vital sign will help reduce false positives, false negatives, and improve maternal fetal outcomes. We have 10 issued patents to date, covering 5 families of system device method claims. We also have breakthrough status from the FDA for expedited approval. And we think that our preclinical results have been compelling to date. Current monitoring technology has a sensitivity of 90%. We've demonstrated a sensitivity of 99%. And current technology has a specificity of 29%. We've demonstrated in our preclinical models a specificity of 95%. So to summarize, Raydient Oximetry is a maternal health medical device company solving an unmet clinical need in fetal monitoring. Our target is unnecessary C-sections, newborn birth injury, and premature birth. We believe this is a billion-dollar opportunity serving millions of pregnancies across the globe. We have a high-margin product with high growth potential, FDA breakthrough status, which translates speed to market, compelling preclinical and first-in-human data, and we're currently completing a pilot study, and that data will be used to raise a Series B of $25 million later this year. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much, Neil. We are going to pass the baton to Rashna for comments and questions.
Sure. Thank you so much, Neil, for presenting and making such a clear set of slides. Couple of questions. You know, when I think of mothers and babies in US and the rest of the world, there is a huge gap in how, you know, people from different races are able to access healthcare at that point. What I want to understand is, especially when I think of outside the world where people might be working without insurance, how accessible is your device in terms of cost for areas that need it most for mothers and babies?
Yeah, so we are developing two business models, one for the developed world and one for the developing world. In the developed world, it's a disposable sensor that integrates into existing fetal heart rate monitoring platforms. And we know that that is not something that can be sustainable in the low middle income country setting. And so for that setting, we're developing a durable equipment, something that's not disposable, but reusable, low cost, durable, reusable, maybe battery powered, because some of these resources don't even have electricity. So we're very cognizant. If you think about in the world, there's 140 million births a year. Only 4 million of those are in the US, 7 million are in Europe. So you've got places in Africa, India, China, 100 million births, and they don't necessarily have access to the latest and greatest technology. So we're very cognizant that the majority of babies born in this world don't have these resources, and we need to develop a product that addresses their needs as well.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you. I'll pass the baton to Elizabeth.
Okay, thank you very much, Neil. Echoing Rachna's comment, it's very hard to say all that you want in 2 minutes, but you did a good job. I want to ask you, how prevalent is this situation of unnecessary C-sections when the specificity is that low, about 30? Are you saying 70% are resulting in failed or unnecessary procedures? That many?
That's correct. And I'm happy to show you literature, but the false positive rate is 70 to 80% of current monitoring technology. So this is not just a US problem. This is a worldwide problem. It's gotten a lot of visibility in the US because our maternal mortality rates have been going up. But if you look in Western Europe, even Eastern Europe, South America, Asian countries, there's a very high unnecessary C-section rate. And the C-section rate, C-sections are done for different reasons in different parts of the globe. For example, in China and India, they'll do a C-section on a particular date because they want their baby born on an auspicious date. So there are different reasons driving the C-section rates, but everyone agrees that the monitoring that's used to monitor babies has contributed to these increasing C-section rates across the globe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Belinda, you're currently on mute. There we go.
Sorry. Again, thanks again for a very good presentation. So for me, I have a couple of questions. Do you have an idea of timeline, basic cost of the machine? And I know you're raising Series B, 25 million. What is the what are your thoughts of the use of proceeds and your market strategy? That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're completing a pilot study that'll be done this year, 2022. In 2023, we'll raise our Series B, do our final commercial product development, and we need to do a 600 patient pivotal study. We're estimating that that pivotal study will take about 18 months, and we'll be able to file for FDA approval. This is a class 3 technology in 2025. So we believe we'll be on the market in 2025. Our vision is to be a disposable sensor company, not in the hardware business. We want to integrate into existing fetal heart rate monitoring platforms. The two companies that have 90% of the market share are GE and Philips. So our go-to-market strategy is to partner with GE and Philips, integrate our technology into their platforms, and leverage their existing resources to drive adoption. At scale, our disposable sensors have a cost of $35, and we've done a willingness to pay assessment in the US, and hospitals have said that they'd be willing to pay about $400. I hope that answered all your question. I know I'm out of time. Anything else?
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
That's great, Neil. We can follow up as well. If you don't mind stopping your screen share, that would be great.
Yeah. And I just want to give a shout out to my wife, Jolly Ray. She's out there. It's her birthday today. So I wouldn't have been able to accomplish everything I've done without her support.
Oh, happy birthday. That's so sweet. All right, our next presenter is Keren from Ocon.
So hello, everybody. I'm going to speak really quickly because Becca is very adamant about these 3 minutes. Ocon Healthcare stands for O Configuration. I am the CEO of this amazing platform technology to deliver drugs to the uterus. We deliver those drugs on a stent, which looks like a ball. It's a very cool ball, and I'll explain in a minute why this makes sense for us women and our uterus and our bodies. So we are a little bit more advanced in this space. We won a lot of awards these past couple of years, but I think the one we're most proud of is we were recognized by the World Economic Forum as making the most impact, 1 in 100 companies. So me and my team are looking forward to actually creating policy and to look at the World Economic Forum to see women's health as a subject that needs attention. Brings a lot of course, excitement to us here. We are situated in Israel, but we do have offices in Europe. We're funded by both US and Israeli investors. One of our investors that led our Series A round is Ria Ventures, together with Astia Angels. I have a team of 85% women, including on my board, and we're looking forward to bringing this technology to the US as well. One of our biggest assets is our patent portfolio. We own the 3-dimensional space in the uterus. This is granted everywhere, all over the world until 2034. And this is our family patent number 1. Our second family of patents talks about what we can put on this frame, on this 3D frame. And we can put anything, any drug, any hormone, or any pharmaceutical agent. This is already granted in the US and Canada. And this really opens up a huge market in women's health to deliver drugs to the uterus to treat multiple indications, pathologies, and diseases, such as heavy menstrual bleeding, such as uterine fibroids, endometriosis, menopause. We have 3 IUBs, intrauterine balls. This is our platform here. Basically, each ball treats a different indication or condition. Our first ball, called Ballerine, is a LARC, a long-acting reversible contraception, and it's situated in the body. It's a non-hormonal contraception for 5 years. We had our IND approved recently, so we're looking forward to doing our first our pivotal study for approval in the United States. Our second product is truly revolutionary. This is a product in the doctor's office to treat 1 in 4 women that have heavy menstrual or abnormal uterine bleeding that today only have a choice of either hormones or debilitating, aggressive, invasive procedures in the hospital. Last but not least is our pillar for delivery of drugs, called the Prima, and this would really look at endometriosis and contraception, abnormal uterine bleeding, endometriosis, fibroids, and so on.
Your 3 minutes right there.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
final statement.
Okay, final statement. I know everybody wanted to see, let's just look at the technology for a second. Folds differently in the uterus. really protects it from perforation and ectopic pregnancies, moving away from what we have. I know Belinda had some questions about when we anticipate to be in the market. And so great time to be in women's health, lots of exits, great board. We're done here.
Thank you so much,
3 minutes.
Keren.
Okay.
We're gonna pass to Belinda.
Okay, so you are that's a great presentation. It's really interesting of what you're doing. It's totally innovative way of
Thank you.
in women's health. So my question is, again, the similar questions. What's your what are you racing? What's your time to market, and what kind of approval process is do you need?
We're doing a Series B. It's a $25 million Series B, but we do have a little bit more room in a convertible safe, a bridge round between our A and B. We did a 6 million raise. We completed 5 million out of it. So we still have $1 million to go in this convertible safe, which gives a 20% discount from the Series B. The Series B will pretty much fund what you see here. It's going to fund our activities to get these two products, two of our assets to the FDA. Which is our Ballerine and Seed, and also continue the development of Prima. That's the Series B efforts. Does that answer your question, Belinda? Great.
Yeah, sorry.
Great, Rachna?
Oh my God, fascinating technology. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you took us to that page that showed us how the technology works once it's inserted through the tube in the uterus. Fascinating indeed. To me, I'm going to go back to the same question I had, the global applicability and the viability of having this technology benefit women across the globe, right? I know you're working for FDA approval in the US, but I'm curious to see if you have plans or you've thought about beyond US and Europe.
So we currently sell our Ballerine across the world. This is an immensely impactful product because we already see we have 120,000 insertions, including the CEO, by the way. We already see the impact that it is making with 90% less ectopic pregnancies, 40% less perforations, and there's no malposition, right? A ball stays a ball no matter which way. Sorry, I'm not sure why this is having its own life. No matter which way it turns. And so the Ballerine already making impact, we have to bring it to the US to allow women more options, especially in the reproductive age. But the really other impactful product is the Seed. The Seed will allow a community-based procedure for women without the need for hospitals to allow them to take care of their anemia and their bleeding without taking their uterus out, sorry about this, or being able to go through these debilitating procedures, global endometrial ablation. And so we're already seeing the impact here. We're looking at LMIC very seriously. We have distribution agreements in China, in South America, in Mexico, and in South Africa. And so we're making slow progress, but true, real progress around the world as well.
Well done. Thank you.
Thanks.
Elizabeth?
Thank you very much. I'm going to be the contrarian here. With 3 minutes to pitch, what would be helpful is to understand what the issues are that you are trying to solve. I didn't quite get that. I can imagine this is a more localized and therefore you don't have systemic exposures and troubles. I didn't get what the problems, what the existing solutions, technologies, their shortcomings, and how you are that much better. I can only imagine it, but that would be helpful. I know you have 3 minutes. It's very helpful. It's difficult. And maybe focusing across your platform on 1 or 2 that you need funding for, because it was a little hard to absorb it all. But I imagine in a full 10-minute pitch, I could have grasped that better. I'm providing feedback for you, not so much questions, because
Sorry,
it's
no,
okay.
not hard. Today, IUDs are one shape. They're T-shaped IUDs. They're too big.
Is that the one you're going after in terms of funding first? Is it the IUD?
It's a platform, so it's all based on the same ball. It's an
Right.
intrauterine
But is
device.
that your first indication or your first?
Yes, the first
access?
indication.
Okay. Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
First
You need
indication
to
is a non-hormonal
explain
LARC.
I would ask you to explain with clarity X, 1, 2, 3. I don't know the streams that you're coming from. And again, I think it's because of the short time.
So the intrauterine ball finally tackles women's anatomy. So we're moving away from pointy plastic 2-dimensional IUDs into a 3-dimensional smaller platform to deliver drugs to the uterus. So these are all drug and drug components. The first product that we need to bring to market into the United States is our LARC, the ballerine. The reason for that is that these all cater to the same physician. So the same physician treating women for contraception will treat them for their endometriosis, will treat them for their bleeding.
Right. So are the issues with the 2D that they perforate? What is the problem?
They perforate, they malposition, they cause intensive bleeding. They don't fit women of younger age. They're way too big for the average uterine size.
Okay. That's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to hear.
I know that this is short timing for everyone, but I'm sure that we can continue the conversation outside of the event. And thank you again for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
All right, our next presenter today is Maryam from Isono.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maryam, co-founder and CEO of Isono Health. We are developing an AI platform for accessible personalized health monitoring. Having lost close friends of us to breast cancer, we've developed the world's first AI-driven platform with automated and wearable ultrasound to truly transform breast care with improved access and adoption. We just received our FDA clearance, and we're quite excited to transform early detection of breast cancer for over 1 billion women globally who don't have access to breast cancer screening. Even within US, half of women over 40 don't get their annual screening. That's a $30 billion missed global market opportunity. That's because 1 in 3 breast cancers are missed in currently because of poor adherence, poor patient experience with mammogram, and additionally, most importantly, the lack of sensitivity in dense breast, which affects half of women in US and Europe and 70% of women globally. Ultrasound is very scalable, but it's very operator intensive, and simply there's not enough ultrasound techs globally and radiologists to address this problem. We offer a solution that overcomes all of these barriers with the only compact automated ultrasound system on the market that takes 2 minutes to scan the whole breast without the need for a tech or radiologist. We offer truly repeatable quantitative insights that takes our platform beyond just screening to treatment planning and monitoring. And we have a unique and innovative ML engine that allows for detection, segmentation, classification of lesions. But beyond that, combined with repeatable quantitative insights and risk monitoring, we offer a personalized health monitoring platform. This is a quick video that shows that how the system is placed on the patient.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we cannot see your slides moving.
Okay, so this is our platform. Sorry about that, everyone. If I can quickly go back and kind of show what I was talking about. Over 1 billion women who don't have access to global cancer screening, and current solutions that are missing 1 in 3 breast cancers, mammogram and ultrasound. Our platform overcomes all of these solutions with a fast, easy operations, repeatable quantitative insights. We have an ML engine that allows for detection and segmentation and classification of lesions for a truly personalized health monitoring platform. And in this video, you can see how the system is placed on the woman, and the cups allow for localization of the tissue. The imaging is done with the scanner on top with water as a coupling medium, and the scanner rotates on its own with a simple press of a button, and the operator is standing by, and the imaging is done hands-free. And within 2 minutes, all the imaging is done and will be available for remote visualization. We have a software platform for 3D advanced imaging, and we have a very strong technical and team, and we are growing our commercial team. We have achieved FDA clearance. We have clinical sites going with over 130 patients in 3 sites, and we have patented technology in US and Europe and China. As I
That
mentioned,
is 3 minutes. Last statement, please.
yes, we are ramping up commercialization with first in women's health clinic and expanding to mobile and home imaging. And we are uniquely positioned to expand access to breast cancer screening. We are raising a Series A to achieve ramp up commercialization. And I'll be happy to answer any more questions. And again, thank you. And breast cancer is just the beginning. We're excited about transforming women's health with our platform technology.
Thank you so much. Elizabeth.
Yeah, thank you. Congratulations on the FDA clearance. It's a big milestone. Have you done customer surveys, the radiologists themselves, to figure out how well this will be adopted? It's a big leap going from current tech to yours. So what surveys have you done?
So yeah, we've talked to a lot of surgeons and radiologists, and as there's a lot of currently one of the market dynamics is moving towards screening ultrasound for dense women who have dense breast. So I was just recently at SBI, and a lot of women said they're adopting automated breast ultrasound systems. So that's an ongoing trend, and their feedback is that without our system allows them to adopt automated ultrasound without the need for expensive equipment, additional space required, and also with the current staffing. So not only we save them costs and time, but we allow them to address more patient needs with our system. So it's been received very well by radiologists, and on top of that, with surgeons who've had a lot of interest in pulling us for pre-op planning and treatment planning.
Thanks for, this is very interesting. I personally have very dense breast tissue, so I always have ultrasound before mammogram. So I understand this is really important. So a couple questions. You are just depending on the AI to read the films. Are you going to be talking to radiologists who can maybe do a second look at the imaging? I think
so AI is clinical decision support. All images currently will be read by radiologists. So what machine learning does is going to a slide like this. Machine learning identifies and segments the lesion. The radiologist decides if they want to select that in the report. And I didn't go into too much of that because there was no time, but if I show here, so radiologist logs in, they see the list of patients, and then going back, they decide which one of the lesions they want to include in their report. The report is auto-generated, but the final assessment is done by radiologists. So machine learning selects and says, I think this is a lesion, and these are some of its characteristics, and then the radiologist pulls in the final report by confirming whether they agree with the AI or not. So that's where currently is. As we move forward, we collect more data. Part of the funds we're raising is to expand the indication to diagnosis, and that will allow for AI to do the assessment, and the radiologist will then do what you mentioned as a second opinion or a confirmation. So.
Okay, so two more questions. Have you looked at how accurate it is? Are there a lot of false positive or false negatives in the AI learning? And what's the go-to-market strategy?
Don't take anything. Just take Mytri to flash it in front of them. And
we have different models.
Sufficient. And 5 slides at the health. So I will actually, sorry, I couldn't work on it. I have to let my.
So we have different AI models with different sensitivity specificities. For example, our detection model has 90% sensitivity with 85%, 80 to 85% specificity. We also have classification models that have about 90 to 94% accuracy and about 90% sensitivity, again, around 80% specificity. So it depends on the specific models. We have different sensitivity and specificity. And in terms of have gone to market strategy. Thank you for asking that. I didn't get to go through that.
Maryam, I'm sorry, we have to stop for a moment, but I do want to let you continue. So maybe Rashna will follow up, and maybe you'll have a little time at the end there.
Sure.
Oh, so do you want me to ask my question, Becca?
Yes, please.
Okay, thanks. I had two things. I had one question and one feedback. The question was, your device, how many scans do you think it can do before it is non-usable, right? Every device has a lifetime of scans or whatever. I think that's important.
Yeah, so we have done before FDA, we had to do reliability studies. We have done extensive reliability studies. For example, we've done 20,000 nonstop scans with essentially having apparatus who press the button 20,000 times nonstop. So we think we are saying at least it has about 5-year plus lifetime, which is what is a typical lifetime of a device like this. So that's kind of, but as again said, from what we've done so far, we've done, tens of thousands of, scans nonstop. So.
Okay, that's helpful. And one bit of feedback, I feel like, I don't know how much of this but big organizational companies, right? They have started hosting breast cancer screening as a service for the women who work in those organizations. I see this to be an amazing alternative to those big hefty machines. So I don't know if that's a route you've considered taking and selling from that angle, but this could be very, very helpful.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what we like. That's our vision exactly. So eventually, right now, our goal is to expand access in point of care and then home and mobile imaging. But as we collect more data and we can show that this can be a standard care, of course, that's our vision and goal eventually. Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maryam. Can you unshare your screen, please?
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next presenter today is Piush from CrossBay.
Hi, I'm Piush Vidyarthi. I'm the CEO of CrossBay Medical. I'm here to talk today about changing the standard of care for office-based procedures. I think it's very clear we've all been talking about women's health being underserved. What we are specifically doing is focusing on the office. Women need access to better care. Procedures need to be simpler, less painful, need to be done by lesser skilled providers, be it in the US or global. Today, these issues are highlighted. There's people talking about it in magazines and YouTube and TikTok videos, etc. Articles about IUD insertions being very painful, 70% of hysteroscopies being done in requiring anesthesia being done outside of the office. Endometrial biopsies are very painful. The problem today still, though, is that the tools that are used haven't changed. These things have been around since 1870. You need tenaculums, you need uterine sounds, you need paracervical blocks or cervical dilators. Nobody's changed. Companies are innovating for better devices, but they're solving different disease states, but no one has solved cervical access. We've got a technology that's called CrossGlide. It's a frictionless hydraulic everting balloon. That's not going to be easy to explain to people, but just look at it as a self-directing. It's agnostic to the uterine anatomy, the type of services. It's atraumatic. Today, we have some products in the market for endometrial biopsy, cervical dilation, IUD insertion outside of the US. There are over 1,000 patients done to date, and the results are frankly absolutely beautiful. There is a market. We expect it to be around 4.5 billion. I think that's confirmed by Keren's projections as well. These are the type of procedures that we're talking about in terms of what kind of office-based procedure markets there are. And by the time we bring the hysteroscope to market, we feel like we can change the standard of care. Today, this is a pretty simple commercialization strategy in terms of going after for infertility clinics primarily, initially, I should say. The concept being the sell will be lesser time to do procedures, getting rid of these archaic, really torture tools, making sure that lower scale procedures can be done by any healthcare provider. And this concept bringing in should be able to not only change that 4.5 billion to a much higher number in terms of available procedures for women. A little bit about us. I mean, we've got an executive team and a management team.
Statement.
Unlike, sorry?
Final statement, please.
Final statement. We're raising $5 to $7 million to commercialize our existing products, finish development on a couple other products. And really part of this point of being part of this community is to say, I also want to enlist the help of this community, to clinicians, companies, and investors to be able to help affect this change.
Thank you so much, Piush. We'll start with Rachna.
Sure. I have a couple of questions. And if it takes too long to answer, you don't have to answer now, we can follow up later. But in the tubal patency part, can your device help with detection as well as removal of blockages, or is it just one or the other? I'm sorry, I didn't quite get the details.
This would be, is that your question?
Yes.
In terms of tubal patency, you're looking at, if you're talking about what's known as a hysterosalpingogram versus a tubal patency assessment for infertility. Currently, the product that we're talking about would be for just to assess whether or not they're open.
Okay, for detection. Okay, great. And then my second point was, you've talked about embryo transfer, IUI, endoscopy, tubal, there was 6 things on that slide.
Yeah.
Which one do you think is going to be, or which two are you going to be your biggest impact makers?
I think hysteroscopy by itself is forecasted by 2028 to be about 3.8 billion in the market. I think that's going to be the biggest place. Now we're looking at different markets, right? You're looking at whether or not you want to do directed biopsies or whether or not you want to do blind biopsies. I think that's affected by market. The other thing is IUDs. And we have this technology today outside of the US and it just started last month in terms of commercialization. And, procedures are being performed by non-physicians. And I think that's the concept of, you had asked a question earlier. I think those are the two biggest markets. And in terms of global, you don't need these products. You don't need tenaculums. You don't need a paracervical block or what have you. You have one chance to get this into a patient, and hopefully we'll all care enough to be able to make sure that's painless. And we have that technology.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth?
Yes, thank you very much, Piush. And I like how you started out with the problem. That placed it in context. And then I saw your soft looking device, and that brought it all together. I want to ask you, you have two things. You've done this in 1,000 patients already. Is that right?
Yeah, some products are commercially available. Yes.
It is commercially available?
Some products. So this, again, most of us here are talking about platform technology. This is, again, another platform technology. Office-based procedures require multiple products, right?
Okay. So of the 1,000 patients, what has their experience been? Have you done customer feedback saying, yes, indeed, it's a lot less painful? And
yes,
second of all,
we have data on that, yes.
And what is that data generally?
The data is it's much less painful. The procedures are being done by non-physicians. We've placed IUDs without a tenaculum, without the procedure on how you typically place an IUD, using a uterine sound to measure the uterus and then place the IUD, using a tenaculum, et cetera. We don't use any of those tools. So by definition, it's much less painful. But then the pain scores are the most painful part of the procedure with our technology is putting a speculum in. The rest of it is not as painful as putting a speculum in.
Presenting a table on the pain scores would be very helpful. That will bring the whole loop picture together. Maybe you have that in some other deck, but I realize time.
We do have that in other decks. I mean, I have 3 minutes to. I mean, I'd love to go over more
but I
detail.
mean, you're talking about pain, so you're talking about pain. So providing that story is helpful.
Fair enough.
But thank you.
Sorry. So I wanted to ask you, we're raising $5 to $7 million. What are the use of proceeds, and what's your priority for the different products that you want to bring to market? And are you looking to partner with certain companies for launch?
Right. So there's 3 parts to the answer. So use of proceeds, part of it is going to approach bring products to the infertility market. in the US primarily because there's 440 clinics, much easier to show and gain traction with the products in that market. Part of that use of processes is to develop a hysteroscope primarily, which will be in market within a year, which then takes the biopsy into a much different reimbursed, much higher reimbursed procedure, 10 times more. And then from a standpoint of, are we looking to partner? Yes, I'm looking to partner on certain technologies in terms of saying that where we're in essence agnostic to an IUD. I don't want to get into the business of developing a new IUD, but I think that most people gloss over the fact that an IUD insertion is painful, yet there's enough. I mean, just today, there's an article that came out in Good Housekeeping that said how painful it was. Well, we've solved that problem in terms of the pain. So rather than develop a new IUD, for me, it's more partnering to be able to place that IUD properly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Piush, if you could unshare your screen, please. Our next presenter today is Sujay from Lilu.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. I'm Sujay, the co-founder and COO of Lilu, where we build smart wearable devices to make postpartum care pain and stress-free. Improving breastfeeding rates has been a big topic of discussion recently with the formula crisis, and rightfully so. There are numerous benefits to breastfeeding, as we all know, and yet 80% of babies are breastfed for less than the recommended time of 1 year. A huge part of the problem is breast pumping. As this Google search shows, pumping is painful, stressful, and it's making millions of moms miserable. Moms cannot pump enough milk to feed their babies, and so they make the heart-wrenching choice to quit breastfeeding altogether. But there is a solution. Research shows that breast massage while pumping can help moms get up to 50% more milk every session. But while manual massage is effective, it is simply unsustainable. That is why when my co-founder Adriana and I met at UPenn, we took our insights from soft robotics to help moms get the proven benefits of breast massage hands-free. We created the Lilu lactation massager, the first of its kind portable massage technology that's better than everything else. Our patented pneumatic massage technology is embedded into a customized bra to help moms get 30 to 55% more milk. It is an FDA Class 1 device protected by granted utility patents in the US and in China, and it works with all standard breast pumps that moms are familiar with. Lilu customers have called it a breastfeeding savior. It's helped moms avoid giving formula to their babies, and moms of premature babies have called it a true lifesaver. We launched at the end of 2019, and to date, we've shipped over 2,000 bras and generated over $200,000 in sales. We've proven product market fit through D2C and wholesale channels, and we're now building strategic alliances to scale rapidly through private labeling and licensing opportunities so that millions of moms can benefit from our technology. We're in the final stages of closing deals with 2 major players in the breast pumping space. With breastfeeding and pumping rates increasing globally, this $5 billion market is on pace to nearly double by 2030. And our clearly differentiated technology and exciting product roadmap gives us the opportunity to be a market leader. And we're the perfect team to spearhead innovation in this space. My co-founder, Adriana, and I combine experience in engineering, computer science, and product design with degrees from MIT and UPenn. And we have a solid team with strong business development and marketing expertise to drive growth. That includes moms who went from being our first customers to now integral team members. And we're backed by a stellar advisory board that includes Dr. Dan Spatz, the director of the lactation program at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and Keren, who founded the BOMP. And we're just scratching the surface with the lactation massager. With support from the National Science Foundation, we're developing a smart milk tracking sensor and an app to unlock breastfeeding data and provide moms with objective, actionable insights about their health to help them succeed in early motherhood. We're currently raising a seed round of $3 million to fund growth of our current product and expansion of new IP with new technology, as I mentioned before. We're absolutely pumped to be making a real difference with the lives of millions of moms, and we hope you join us in our mission. Thank you so much. I'll take your questions now.
Thank you, Sujay. Elizabeth, we'll start with you.
Thank you. Very nice. Straightforward what you're doing. What are your cost of goods and your margins as a result? And what are your terms for this round?
I'll answer the first question first. So cost of goods right now, we're manufacturing in low volumes. Our margins are around 35%, but we know that we can scale it up to close to 50 to 65% as we increase our production. We're manufacturing in batches of 1,000 units at a time in China.
What is the retail?
It retails for $119.
How much?
$119.
119. Okay. And
Yeah.
what are the terms of the round?
So we're raising on a safe. We're raising $3 million on a safe with a $12 million cap.
$4 million cap?
$12 million cap.
I was gonna say, okay, thank you. Very nice, thanks.
Thank you. Belinda?
This is really interesting as well. So I was going to ask the use of proceeds for your safe round.
Yes, of course.
And and I was going to say, are you already partnering? And how reusable are your massagers? How long do they last?
Yeah, absolutely. So firstly, the use of proceeds. I think one of the important initiatives that we are doing right now, as your second question asked, is increasing our partnerships. Like we are hoping to expand. Right now, we are selling primarily direct to consumers and wholesale, but right now we are hoping to bring on more partners, specifically breast pump companies. And so use of the proceeds will go towards growing brand awareness of not just this product, but like more products, not just in the US, but globally, and also clinical trials, and alongside with R&D of the next product, clinical trials, because this will open up avenues for sales in NICUs and hospitals, and also insurance reimbursement, which is super crucial for breast pumps. I hope that answers your first question. Second question, I think it was along the terms of partnership. Could you please repeat?
No, you answered the
Yeah, so we are partnering with breast pump companies. So the product is right now compatible with all standard breast pumps. Part of the reason why we launched it as it is because we want to be agnostic to breast pump companies. And so we're able to partner with all of them. And the idea is that we can work alongside these breast pumps and help increase milk supply and milk production by 50%. And as far as the lasting of the device, like we're currently telling moms that the device will last for their one whole breastfeeding journey. But again, it's an electronic device. We know that without any damage to the device, it can last moms up to 2 kids. So they can pump for two kids with the product.
Thank you. Rashna?
Wow, I pumped for my one and only child. He wouldn't latch on, so it was all pumping. Absolutely. And my question, something that I went through and a lot of my friends went through as they were pumping was, if we were traveling or doing something for work, the problem of engorged chest and everything, every time you would have to put a warm compress or do something like that. Yeah. You anticipate putting like kind of a technology in there to warm massage if needed, if women are going through the problem, and then not do it on a regular basis because that can lead to other issues, but when needed, do that would save a trip to the caregiver,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that you asked this. So these are definitely low-hanging fruits in terms of R&D. We identified that breast massage has a lot of benefits, numerous benefits. There's research that shows that it increases milk supply, but there's also research that shows that it helps moms get milk that's richer in fat content and helps them avoid clogged ducts and mastitis and like very much like you mentioned. So we've already seen from our product, even though we haven't done clinical trials, which is why we cannot make those claims, but we're seeing from over 2,000 moms that have pumped with the product. We've heard from our customers that this product, as it stands without the heating mechanism, already helps them with ward off clogged ducts by helping them empty their breasts. But the very easy low-hanging fruit that we would love to implement in the near future is adding that heating feature. Right now, there are a few products out there that are already doing just the heating feature, and like that's a very niche space. So even if we don't, launch our own technology for that, like we can always partner with these other companies that are already doing these heaters, and that's why again the form factor of the device matters a lot.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sujay. Could you please unshare your screen?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Our final presenter today is Roni from Ciconia.
So hi, everyone. I'm Roni Cantor-Balan. I'm founder and CEO of Ciconia Medical. And we're developing the first cervical measurement device that replaces the manual vaginal exam every woman goes through during labor. I'm a biomedical engineer with over 15 years of experience in the medical device space. including research and master studies at MIT and Tufts University. And together with me, our chief medical advisor is the world-renowned Professor Eliezer Shalev. He's former dean of the medicine faculty at the Israeli Technion Institution, and he's also one of the founding fathers of the OBGYN ultrasound practice in Israel. I'm also a mother of 3, and like me, every pregnant woman, and we're talking about 130 million women worldwide every year, endures the manual vaginal exam multiple times during labor. This exam where labor and delivery providers insert their fingers into the woman's vagina is painful, traumatic, risky, and on top of that, it's inaccurate. And this is despite the fact that the exam is crucial for determining labor progress and for making critical decisions like C-sections and inductions. There are serious risks involved with the method, like misdiagnosis can easily lead to unnecessary interventions and serious medical complications. Our device provides accurate and objective measurements, and it minimizes interventions to reduce risks. It allows gentle, painless, and safe process for both mom and baby. It is a multi-use camera-based probe with a disposable part that allows for a strong business model, combining both the device sales and the recurring revenues. Here are some preliminary measurements taken with an off-the-shelf industrial probe on a vaginal model. We were able to demonstrate 3D measurements of the cervical dilation and effacement. In this example, we measured going from no effacement to 50% and from no dilation to 2 centimeters. It's a $17 billion market, and we are the first to introduce this revolutionary device. For market penetration, we're going to leverage women's movements, the World Health Organization, and numerous reports, all calling against this exam. No woman will accept it once knowing there is a safe alternative, and no hospital or clinic would afford to keep the manual vaginal exam. Other top executives are supporting our project, as well as hospitals interested in participating in the clinical trials. We're looking for a seed investment of $750K to complete our proof of concept, FDA clearance, and IP. We have a provisional patent. We're working with a leading US-based design house with a clear plan on how to do the proof of concept. And we were recently chosen as a semi-finalist for the Mass Challenge Maternal Child project. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashna. I don't know if you have time or not. I know you have to pop, but if you want to go first and have time.
Thank you. I'll just say, if you resolve this, you're resolving a great public health issue that all women face, and face the discomfort, face the worry that it could lead to more trouble than analysis during pregnancy. I absolutely agree with you. So the value proposition is very strong. What I didn't see is proof points, but I understand that you're very early stage, you're pre-seed. So all the best as you go through this. And I hope the data comes out really, really good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Rashna, for your time this morning.
Take care. Bye. Thank you.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, thank you very much, Roni. Great presentation, and agree with Rashna. Value prop reimbursement, or this would be a capital good, or I mean, how are you going to convince healthcare providers, hospitals to pay for this when now it's free, the manual? Unfortunately uncomfortable, but cost. What's your plan?
Yes, so it's free using fingers. However, there are costs involved with, you know, the unnecessary C-sections and the risks of infections and so on. So there is a cost to the free exam. What we are trying to do is, for the first year, to do a market penetration, we're going to offer the device itself at no cost here in the US, and we're only going to charge for the disposable. We're going to create this strong marketing and PR efforts to boost women's awareness and demand. And on the second year, we are going to start to charge for the device from hospitals and clinics. The business model, at first at least, will basically require the women to pay for the disposables. We are going to charge $3,000 for the device and $20 for disposable. assessing about 5 disposables per labor on average.
I think you're going to need a strong economic story in order to launch this. So, you know, the unnecessary C-section, whatever, you need to build a strong economic story. We're on that side often
Sure.
with our group, so consider that. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Belinda. Belinda's question is, how far will the 750K take you?
Sure. The 750K will allow us to develop the proof of concept, the prototype, and do the initial feasibility tests. We're supposed to be a 510K FDA submission, which will cover that as well. The IP and marketing and operation efforts.
Thank you so much. That's the end of our event for today. I want to thank all of the presenters and judges, my colleague Martin for handling all of the technology blitz in the background. To continue the conversation, please join us at the Global Health Impact Network for additional information about these companies and more opportunity to collaborate to improve healthcare for women, which is why we're all here. So thank you again for joining us, and I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Becca.
Thank you.
Thank you, Becca. This is great.
Oh, and there's a question about whether the recording will be available. Yes, the recording will be available to the attendees. Just join globalhealthimpactnetwork.net, join us on the network, and we'll be posting the recording as well. Thank you.
Well done, Becca.